What's up, fam? Welcome back to the Steep Stuff Podcast. I'm your host, James Lariello. So excited to bring you guys another episode for this Sunday, June 1st, Sunapee Scramble U.S. Mountain Running Championship Mountain Classic Selection Race. This episode is going to be with none other than one of my favorite people in the sport, Flannery Davis Love. The Boulderite was kind enough to come on the pod to chat all about her build for Sunapee. You guys might be familiar with that name. Flannery is the current record holder on Long's Peak. So for you Coloradans and anyone really in the Mountain West that recognizes that peak's name, that is a very serious record to hold. Flannery is also best known for some top 10 finishes, both at Cirque Series A Basin as well as Cirque Series Snowbird, which was the U.S. Mountain Running Championship last year. Flannery and I caught up we talked all things Sunapee as well as her build, what it's like getting ready for a race in the Northeast. I know this is going to be a lot of folks' first time going out to the Northeast and dealing with that humidity coming from the Mountain West. We chatted just all about marathons. Flannery kind of doubles back and does both. She's a road marathoner as well as a mountain athlete. So it's fun to kind of get talk about her build, how she's getting more specific and just where things are going right now. She dropped a sub 5-minute mile on that loop, for Sanitas for the, La Sportiva Sanitas Challenge that took back a few weeks ago. So Flannery's downhill is legit, dude. Really looking forward to seeing her race and where her race is going to take her. It's going to be a fun one. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy none other than Flannery Davis Love. Flannery Davis Love, welcome back to the Steep Stuff Podcast. How's it going?
It's going, hanging in there on a I don't even know what day it is. Thursday?
Yeah.
Keep track. Thursday. Woo!
I know these weeks, time goes by so fast now. I don't know.
It does. Yeah, really a whirlwind. It's good to be back.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, we're having this conversation in the lead up to the Sunapee Scramble. I know it's right around the corner, just a couple weeks away or a week and a half away, and I can't believe we're already here. How's training going? How's everything in your build?
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. I can't believe we're already here. I feel like I was just talking with you and I was like, I've got so much time to train. And now here we are. And I was like, wow, I feel like I could have done more, which is a good segue. Yeah, I ended up doing a little bit of a mini kind of speed roadblock. I ran like a 10K and then I ended up just hopping in a 5K because I wasn't really super stoked how the 10K went. And did a track 5K. It was my first 5K ever at the Peyton Jordan track meet at Stanford. It was actually super fun. But so that did delay my honed in trail time, so to speak. And so I really didn't start doing kind of trail workouts and getting back into trail till the last week of April.
Okay.
So we'll see how it goes. I've definitely just been trying to kind of get some faster efforts at uphill. Definitely that's like my area to improve is uphill hiking in particular. I've definitely been getting my downhill legs back underneath me after being on road. And I've been actually really happy with how some of my downhill speed my speed on roads and track has transferred over to trail. So it's a long way of saying you always wish you had more time. But I'm excited. It should be really fun. And I know the competition will be really high.
Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a wild race. It's going to be fun to follow along. It's funny you say this. So like I at one point in time was like, oh man, like April's too late, to do road and stuff like that. I don't think so. I think there's something to be said about these races, like specifically like the mountain classic, like that 10K and maybe a little bit longer distance to where like, I think like you don't have to do too much trail stuff to show up super fit to these races. I mean, obviously little things here and there for like technicality, but I think like it's just going to be, this race in particular is just going to be like a track meet in a lot of ways. So it's going to be fun.
It's going to be a ride, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, let's get into the course itself. So one of the questions I've been asking everyone to kind of conceptualize and think about, especially all the elite men and women, is like, this race is weird. It's 2 loops, right? And I almost think of it as like a broken arrow, maybe like a 46K broken arrow, right? When you conceptualize that course where it's a 2-loop course, usually the person leading the first loop is not necessarily the person winning the race. There's usually epic blowups that happen. Obviously, this is a much more condensed course, but very fast. When it comes to a strategy perspective, like have you conceptualized maybe some strategy around that? Like maybe taking a little easier in the first loop and then letting it go in the second loop. Obviously, these races are really hard if you don't put yourself in the race immediately the race can get away from you. So how do you, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's such a great question. And it's funny because I am running both Sunapee and Broken Arrow, with probably more of my A race being Broken Arrow. As much as I cringe because I wish I was better at the shorter stuff, I think I actually have I have more strengths in the longer stuff. I just have some endurance built up in that distance, I think, unfortunately. So all to say, I am kind of using Sunapee as that primer just to get used to that double loop mentality. And to your point, I do better later in races. I've just noticed across the board, marathon running, road running, trail running, it just takes me a while to really warm up and get into something. And so I know that I'm going to be taking more of that stance of just hang in at, at threshold if you can, or a little bit above. And so I can go into the second lap feeling like, oh, I'm ready to race now. Like the second lap should be the race. But I think it's really important that if I wait too long or if I settle in too easily and comfortably, I'm going to miss my chance. And I did notice that even at the Cirque Series races when I was running Snowbird, is I think I took it a little bit too easy on the uphill and then I was slamming the downhill. But by that point, it was too late, and I couldn't catch like the three girls in front of me. So it's definitely, I think, a balance. I am hoping to just kind of go into that second lap feeling warmed up, like ready to rock.
I think it's a smart way to approach it. And it's interesting too, because I think like probably the best place where you can draw, I think where anyone can kind of draw, unless you haven't raced Sunapee in 2023, which is most of the group racing this year. I think you can draw a lot of experience from like Cirque Series races specifically. Mm-hmm. And I think even Snowbird would probably be the best example just because there's so much climbing to it. And it's obviously it's one big loop. But it's, whereas like some of the other Cirque races are just like one simple up down with like a longer climb. Some of the, this one's a little bit different, kind of mixes it up with an up down. So yeah, I think there's a lot of things that you can draw from like maybe like a Cirque Series race that I think will actually help like strategically to kind of play, into race planning and stuff like that. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, cool. That is so helpful. I think I'm getting some good data right now because I was like, give me some more information on the race course. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I haven't figured this out yet. We're still working on it. You knew this, we had talked about it. I was supposed to be there. Yes. Now, like the race directors kind of expected me there to help with like some commentating and stuff like that as well. I'm probably not going to be there. So I think I'm going to like see if we can work out something to where I can be kind of like the ears and eyes and commentator on the live stream, but just not in New Hampshire, maybe from Colorado. We'll see how that works. But yeah, we've done a lot of studying of the course. It's very interesting. The East Coast is so weird. Like it's just like not at all like what you were used to with the Mountain West, just because it's like the trails are way techier. Obviously, there's a lot of like grass ski slopes and like it's just weird. I don't know. It's a different place to kind of race, if you will. So yeah,
this will be my first trail race on the East Coast, so we will see how it goes.
A little bit different, right? How do you adapt to like I almost said altitude, but we're not at altitude. How do you adapt to humidity?
Oh, I'm not a huge fan of humidity. I like a dry heat. I was born and raised in the desert landscape of Western Colorado. So I much prefer like the Grand Canyon heat. Like I can kind of be a lizard in that. Yeah, humidity for me, for my hair, for my energy levels is not always great. So that'll definitely be something I need to think about. I know with it being a shorter race, I'm not going to need to be super I think honed in on that, but I still want to know like, okay, electrolytes wise, like how much salt should I be getting in before the race? What's that going to look like from, electrolyte standpoint, making sure I feel hydrated. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is not having my hair in a rat's nest. That's like what I'm most nervous about because I have spent hours untangling my hair after road races on the East Coast. Hours.
Interesting. Yeah, it's something I didn't think about. Oh man, I don't have much hair, so yeah, it's a little bit different. That said, it's definitely something to get. I just think of like the electrolytes and the cramping and stuff like that. It's just a whole different ballgame. Are you going to go out? It seems like everybody I talk to is either going out on Thursday or Friday before. Are you going out early or like what's your game plan?
I'll be heading out Friday night. Yeah, so pretty quick transport out there, but it's nice that the race is on Sunday. It's so close to Boston. I'm flying into Logan. So I feel like it'll be at least a good amount of time to get up on Saturday, do a little scouting of the downhill, and then get ready to rip.
Yeah, I think that's actually smarter. I feel like in order like people should do it either two ways. Like it's almost like that sweet spot where you're in, you don't really have to worry about adjusting to like much, especially because like it's on the East Coast, right? So it's a 2 hour difference. But if you're in and out, like your body, you don't even give yourself time to adapt. Whereas I feel like if you come out a little bit further, it almost like catches up to you quicker with dealing with that time change. So yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
smart. So
Yeah, so true.
what is your expectation for race day?
I know there's going to be a lot of people who have just a objectively faster ground speed than me. And so for these shorter distances, I kind of just go into that feeling some humility of there is just going to be a lot of like really fast girls out there. And so for me, this is exactly, I think I mentioned this to you earlier in our interview, is just putting myself in the mix, seeing where I end up. Pushing myself on the climbs, I think for me is just a personal goal that I was joking with someone this morning during a workout that my legs when they start hiking, it's just like, oh, it's time to go slow. And like hiking should be time to like push it. So that's I think a personal goal for me and what I hope to do is just kind of keep myself in the mix once again, see, what happens come WAP 2. Don't get hurt, don't get too humid, and just enjoy it. Yeah, I think I'm trying to keep myself at lower expectations for this race, just going into it, seeing where I can set myself up for Broken Arrow.
I think that's smart. It's funny. I was thinking about this today and I was like, man, we only get so many times to do races like this. And because, the window is so finite for like to make the world's teams and stuff like that. I think the most important thing is just have fun, right? Just like enjoy it and like soak it in. Like I'm up here mixing it up with some of the best women in the world. And like, how fun is that? It's so cool,
Right.
Yeah. And it's interesting too. Like, I think one of the things that you had said was like, it's going to be interesting to see how like people take it out and stuff like that. Who knows the weather, it's going to be muddy. The weather sucks usually up there. So like, I think all of those different things like that will play a factor in almost like maybe slowing down the race in places. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to follow along. What's your race shoe? Like, what are you going to rock for shoe day or for race day?
Ooh, this is a great question. I have been on the fence about it. My Cirque Series shoe was the Saucony Rift.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed that shoe. I definitely like a shoe that's low to the ground for these techier races. I'm really comfortable in the shoe overall. So I'm probably going to go with that. If not, I might run in something a little bit clunkier, like a La Sportiva Mutant,
Okay.
which I would love for the downhill, but for the uphill, I think would feel a little bit more sloggy. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not really sure. I've been hopping back and forth a little bit with it, but I'm leaning towards the Saucony Rift.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
What if the day goes your way and you end up one of those four women that make the team, like what would that mean to you to make Team USA?
I would probably not believe it if you told me. That's just like so far out of mind for me. But once again, put myself in there, right? Putting myself in that situation. Oh yeah, that'd mean a lot. I think something I think about is, and this is kind of corny, I was that kid growing up who you'd ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I'd say I want to play for Team USA, but I wasn't talking about running, right? I was talking about soccer. So it was like such a lifelong dream for me to like be on an Olympic team or be on a Team USA. And so it does feel kind of full circle in a really poignant way to say, oh, like to be contending for a spot on a different Team USA is still really neat. So yeah, it would mean the world, be super cool. I just love the idea that we are at this level where we have such incredible athletes competing for these spots. And the competition has just grown so much in this sport. It's really fun to be a part of and to witness. Here for the women's race, right? So
Hell yeah. No, I love it.
it'll be really fun. And it'd mean a lot, not getting my hopes up, but of course gonna put myself out there and see how it goes.
For sure. For sure. So we talked about Broken Arrow a little bit. We talked about Sunapee. I know you and I had messaged personally about maybe some marathons later in the year. What else do you have? What are you thinking about like on the schedule for this year other than those?
Yeah, so the plan kind of is I'll run the Sunapee Scramble, and then I'll do Broken Arrow. And I'm kind of like speaking of kind of putting myself in the mix, right? I know how competitive Broken Arrow is going to be, but I knew I didn't want to book flights for any marathons until Broken Arrow is over. Because if I book the flight, speaking of the marathon I'm considering and probably going to do is Berlin, it would be the same week as Worlds.
Okay.
And so for me, if I, after Broken Arrow is over, I'll kind of make next decisions. But I have an entry for Berlin, and we'll probably end up doing that, which is September 21st, I believe.
So
So that's
cool.
kind of on the calendar. And then if I'm feeling really good and really spry after a, late summer, early fall marathon block, I might hop in something going into the late fall. Maybe a javelina fun run. Some people are like, do 100. I'm like, I'm not sure I want to do 100 again yet. Or like a JFK. I'm not sure where I'll be at after marathon training. It's always kind of hard to tell. But yeah, that's kind of the main three races right now. I'm sure I'll hop in some fun stuff like miles around Boulder. A half marathon is always a good primer before a marathon, but that's kind of where I'm at. Keeping it pretty simple.
Dude, JFK would be sweet. Like that's such a fast race and like plays off the marathon block so well. Just because I feel like marathon blocks are so specific and so hard. That like obviously that fitness transfers well for trail, but still like you're pretty beat. I would imagine you're pretty toasted after that. So like I wonder if like JFK would just play like super well and you could just kind of roll that block over. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I'd probably have like 2 months, which would be pretty good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see. I take it day by day.
That's true. It's true. Let's talk Broken Arrow a little bit. I know I'm still on the fence on what I'm going to do with Broken Arrow as far as maybe calling all of you guys back up to do pre-Broken Arrow interviews. But that said, it's hard for me not to talk about that because it's just going to be such a crazy race weekend. What is, and I'm sure you've kind of game planned for this, like, training wise, like it's not a long time between Sunapee and then going into Broken Arrow. Will you probably take some downtime in between, or are you just going to treat Sunapee more as like a hard workout and then continue through on the block? Like, how do you like game plan for that?
It's a great question. Yeah, I did not think about the timing and like the recovery period coming off of, Sunapee into Broken Arrow. And I was like, ooh, yeah, it's a little tight. I am full transparency going to be treating Sunapee like a training race. I mean, if I'm having the day of my life, I'm going to go for it. But for the most part, wanting to really kind of just gain the race experience to really kind of work towards Broken Arrow. So I'm going to probably just try to train right through. I'll do a mini taper to some degree leading into it, but my goal is to then be back training probably the following Wednesday or so. Just to kind of get right back into it. Then I'll have one more weekend of solid kind of volume to put in, and then I'll be back starting to like taper back down. So yeah, I'm a little nervous about I haven't done a 50K in a long time. I know I've done tons of marathons, so I'm hopeful that will come through. And it's a 46K, so it's a little bit shorter than a 50K. But yeah, that's definitely going to be an interesting transition.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine. Honestly, like it's just Broken Arrow is such a fast course, but it's not. I don't know. I've never thought it to be super technical. Like I never thought any of that course really was that bad. So it's just so fast. I think that's the big takeaway. Is just going to be, just how speedy it comes down to. So cool. Well, listen, I think we got everything. I want to wish you the absolute best of luck. We'll talk after Sunapee and before Broken Arrow. Like I said, I'm leaning towards doing pre-race interviews for at least. I don't know because there's so many damn races at Broken Arrow, so I got to figure that out. But that said. Wishing you the best of luck, and we'll be cheering you on. And hopefully we'll chat after race day, and go get it done.
Thanks, James. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Flannery. Listen up, guys. The Steep Stuff podcast is brought to you by Ultimate Direction USA. Guys, I am so excited. UD just dropped their new Race Vest 6-liter and Ultra Vest 12-liter in two beautiful aesthetic colors. You guys got to check these new vests out. They're dynamic in ways like that you just have never seen from an Ultimate Direction vest. Very stretchy, lots of storage, beautiful aesthetic colorways coming to you in a new, like a white and blue and an onyx and green. Just absolutely beautiful vests. I think these ones are just like some of the best products we've ever dropped, and I'm so excited for you guys to try them out. Hop on ultimatedirection.com and use code SteepStuffPod. Again, that's SteepStuffPod for 25% off your new vest. I mean, they're already affordably priced, but 25% off is just going to make it so much more affordable for folks in an already increasingly expensive trail running environment. So hop on ultimatedirection.com, get yourself a new vest, a pack, or any hydration solution, and let me know what you guys think.